What's up, guys? Today we're going to be working on the 1989 C4 Corvette 350 TPI. I just got this thing. It's running really hot. After doing some research, they like to run hot. They were set to run way above 210, 220 degrees. So we're going to fix that today. Let me show you what I'm going to do. This is the Redneck hack. Check it out, guys. This car has two fans on it. It's got a primary fan up here, and then there's a secondary fan in the back there. We've already replaced the thermostat in here, so we put a 180-degree thermostat. A lot of people will go a little bit higher than that, but you know, that's what we chose to go with. So on the driver's side, down here, you can see there is a temperature switch. And so basically all that is a simple grounding switch. When the motor reaches whatever temperature that switch is, it grounds. And when that grounds, it turns on the auxiliary fan in the front. And basically this one, somebody had already clipped this off and put a new end on it. This switch in here is not coming on until like 220, 225 degrees, whatever that one is set at. So I went on Amazon, I bought a new switch, and this is just a 3/8 of an inch NPT. And you can see, let's see if I can focus on it. This is 185 and 175. Basically what that means is when the water temperature in the head reaches 185 degrees, this switch grounds. That ground will send, it will ground out the fan, and the fan, auxiliary fan, will come on. And at 175 degrees, when it cools down, this will open back up, and then that fan will shut off. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is just change that. And this is very easy to see if this is the way yours is set up. So the way I can test this to make sure everything is working with the fan, I just turned the ignition on in the car, and so now this is just a ground. This, if I touch a ground, it should come on. Let's listen. So there we go. So that is simply how this works. When it grounds out, when that line grounds out, it turns on the auxiliary fan. So what I'm going to do, I guess you could, this motor apparently has two coolant temp sensors. There's one down in the intake or water pump somewhere down in the front of the motor. And then there's one on the opposite side of the head in between the back over here on this side. Same spot on the head if you turn this head around 180 degrees. So like I said, factory, this thing is designed to run really hot. We don't want it to run really hot. It's probably not a problem, but maybe in an old school hot rod, I mean, I like about 190, 200 degrees to be my max. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel in here. This is the real, what was that? You probably want to disconnect your battery too when you're doing all this, so you don't get those oopsies. But this is the fan relay. This dark green with a white wire is what grounds this relay. And then that should turn on this fan here. Now from the factory, that fan comes on probably when the air conditioner comes on. There's somehow it's wired in there, or when the ECU, when the computer inside the car senses that it's at the proper temperature, it grounds that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tie in to this green and white wire that goes here, and I'm going to tie it to this green and white wire, and it's basically splice it in together. And when it reaches 185 degrees, both fans come on, and then it should, hopefully it'll cycle these fans back and forth. Now you can also, if you wanted to, they make some switches that you can plug into the radiator. It'll just go in and it'll actually slide in there with a probe, and you can change it. Probably ideally, this fan would come on at the 185, and then maybe have the auxiliary come on at like 200. So I may redo this a little bit later, but I'm gonna try this first. So let me see how this works. First, I'm gonna just change this sensor. I got this sensor off of Amazon. It's like 20 bucks. It actually come with a handy dandy reducing fitting too. So this is a 1/2 inch. Like I said, this is a 3/8. So I guess if you messed up, or if you have a 1/2 inch port, you could use that. So basically, pretty simple. It's already got the spade on it that I need. Just check on Amazon. You can get these things pretty cheap. They got different temperature ranges too. I've seen some that were 200. I saw some that were 210. So if you don't want to cool it off all the way, you could do that. So let's put this in real fast. All right, guys, so I've already loosened this up. So of course I've got a pan under the car to catch antifreeze. You do not want antifreeze dripping all over the place because it's highly toxic to animals and the environment. So you're not going to lose a lot. I still got the the radiator cap on. So if this one is ready to go in, as soon as you pull that one out, you just pop this one right in and screw it in and snug it up. Now this is an NPT fitting, national pipe thread. So remember, when you're tightening these, you want to snug them up, but you don't want to over tighten it. The threads are tapered. You don't want to strip out the aluminum. You don't want to strip the thread. I don't really have a torque value. It's a couple ugga-duggas tight. Okay, that is in. All right, guys, so the way this one is working, I guess I should have done a little bit more research. This fan relay right here, this gray one on the radiator, actually runs the auxiliary. So when I cut this wire, it stopped working. So when you keep looking, now this is the actual relay up here. It's on the driver's side right below the master cylinder. This is the main relay. So that is the one that actually controls this fan. When it grounds, it turns on. The wobbling is when it starts ticking, maybe that motor just needs to be replaced. So I might get a new fan motor, but that's still going to work out like I wanted it to. So let's crimp those back together. I'm going to use butt connectors, and then I'll splice into this one like I was talking about. All right, guys, well, here they go independently. This is the auxiliary one still. And now I've got tied in just a butt tie here. I'll go back with some electrical tape to clean that up, just to give it a little bit of security too. And so this is the main fan. Again, I don't know what the clicking is. It's probably going to get a new, I don't see where it's actually touching anything, the actual fan itself, so maybe the motor. So we're probably going to replace that motor on that one. All right, guys, well, that's going to be it. We'll see how it does, see if it can keep it cool. Sitting here idling with no fans on, it'll get like 230, 240. Last night I was just running the one auxiliary, and it would run at about 200 degrees. So now tonight, we're going to crank it up real fast, and we're going to see if it'll maintain about 185 sitting there idling with both fans on. All right, so here we go. Now these are tied together. Basically, I just used that little splice there, two out one side, one out the other side. Now they're both working. So all we got to do is put our wire loom back on it and hook it up. It looks mostly factory, kind of, sort of, not really. But that's our wires. So it goes down there as hid. It's got the wire loom to kind of protect it from the heat just a little bit. And it is close down there on the headers. So we're good there. Let's crank it up and see what we got. It gets to about 185 degrees. It should come on. Is when the thermostat should open. So it might take it a second. There we go. So they keep on at 173 on that temperature. Right there. So that gauge could be off a little bit. End up having to rebuild this motor, possibly. See how hot it gets sitting here idling like this. We'll be back in a second. All right, guys, it's been sitting here idling for probably 10 minutes now, and it has not got above 182. You can see the oil pressure is dropping. The oil temperature is warming up. So let's take it for a ride real fast. All right, guys, so cruising, this thing runs really cool. 181. So I think we got it fixed. What do you think? Fixed?
It's good.
All right. All right, guys, check it out. Comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.